I'm over at the secret world headquarters of Camerodactyl Cameras with Ethan Moses, and today we're going to try a little bit of outdoor shooting in this kind of cloudy, partly cloudy sky condition. We're going to be doing the black and white reversal process using the ABQ Box Camera. We're going to try our hand at some portraits today using this camera, and black and white resin coated paper, hydrogen peroxide, citric acid, the reversal process. Stay tuned. Thank you. What are you doing, Ethan?
Just, kind of stinging the cuts on my finger in the developer.
Are you agitating?
Yes.
Are you agitating properly?
Like this,
oh,
yes.
Like what, that time?
Up and down.
Oh. And today's video is not sponsored by Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I just happen to have a bag, a to-go bag, carrying some of my accessories. I'm not really sure how accurate this shutter is, but we'll use it and see what happens. Fresh coffee. So for the reversal process today, we're only going to be needing to do developer and stop bath in the camera. Everything else can be done outside in the light. Isn't that right, Ethan?
That's right.
Paper safe, loaded with RC paper. The important thing to remember is this is for drinking and this isn't, so we probably should move this somewhere else.
All right, you want to give me your developer?
Developer.
And then,
yes,
what are we going to make?
Our stop bath will have the citric acid in it.
So that's your second developer.
All right.
Which side are you going to work on? I prefer to work with my right hand, right? So
yeah, I like to use my right hand. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move the coffee cups.
Oh, darn. Okay, this is sodium sulfite.
Mm-hmm.
It's just our spare fixer tray that we don't really need to be in the camera right now.
Yeah.
And this is the second developer, and then we need to do the stop bath will be the citric acid.
Yeah.
This is how all the chemists do it on Breaking Bad.
That's probably too much. It's fine, you can't overdo it.
You can't overdo it, is that right?
All right.
So I'm going to put the stop bath to the very back, so there's a good separation between the front and the back. So this is the 40V.
Yeah.
Which is 12% peroxide.
Yeah. Basically, I made it so that you can just go
from left to right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that you can drip into each other.
Yay. Well, we waited about 3 minutes in the citric acid. And let's see what we get here. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Looks pretty dense.
Pretty dense. Wow, dense, dude. Make sure you top off your peroxide so the print can stay nice and submerged. Oh, that's starting to do something there. It's just taking a little bit longer.
Maybe that is the cold then.
It's probably the cold. The temperature, the reaction rate is temperature dependent. We have gloves. The reaction rate is a lot slower because it's cool out here and the peroxide was sitting out overnight.
Also, the positive image is already there.
Yeah.
Self-developing in UV.
Yep.
Wax.
Should we do it now?
Sure.
Okay, sodium sulfite. And the second developer. See what happens with it.
Probably not a fully bleached out negative.
This is our second attempt. We're giving it more citric acid time this time. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh yes, definitely more. We gave it more exposure also. And it looks like it's sharply focused from what I can tell. Yes. Nice. Okay. Into the peroxide that has a leaf in it.
Well, you need the leaf.
You need the leaf. Let me get my gloves on.
What a sad looking guy.
It's a sad looking guy. Yeah, we're concerned about the low temperatures out here is causing this not to bleach as fast as we'd like. This is bleaching better than the last time. Although I think, sometimes when you give it more exposure, it bleaches better. right? Underexposed doesn't bleach as well, which is kind of counterintuitive. But I'd also like to think it has something to do with the fact that my fingers are in here and I'm keeping it warmer. But that's,
yeah, you got to keep your fingers in the tank for proper ABQ box camera usage.
yes. It's just our latent image is very strong.
It's weird to do this outside and see that happen. It never happens indoors.
I know.
This is sort of like a very light purple image.
Yeah.
That is kind of the auto-developed
Yeah.
version of this process in UV light.
Yeah.
All right, let's clean it and develop it again.
Okay, let's sodium sulfite. We don't see any visible staining, so let's throw it in the developer here. Second developer. There's the staining. Immediately starts turning brown, but maybe that's just the developing process. Let's not be too negative, Joe. No pun intended.
Yeah, I just feel like we're incompletely bleaching, right? So
Yes.
we're getting a lot of
Yeah.
that sort of mid-tone depression.
Yeah.
Not a bad print, though.
Not a bad print.
You wanna hold it up for me?
Yes. So we're fighting potentially cold developer. So we need to troubleshoot this. So Ethan has made an exposure of me giving even more time exposure-wise and also longer in the first developer. And so now we have a print that looks quite dark, almost black, and that's kind of what we should have after the first development. So we're leaving it in the citric acid for quite a bit longer to make sure it gets really saturated with citric and does its job. Because the temperatures out here are cooler, any chemical reaction, the reaction rate is going to be slower and it's going to take longer time to do what it needs to do. So we've been doing a series of experiments here. It is fairly cool out today, colder than what you would normally have for these kind of processes indoors in a dark room. So this first image is obviously underexposed and probably underdeveloped on the first development step. And also we have some kind of a weird staining around some of the shadows, and we did use a sodium sulfite rinse aid before the second developer, but it appears to be not very effective at this point. Then we increased our in-camera exposure and increased the length of the development, of the first development. It's better, but we also have this gray haze where the bleaching isn't really removing all of the initial silver out of the first layer, and so you never do get really bright highlights, unfortunately, here. The third step was we gave it more in-camera exposure, stronger development for a longer period of time, and longer in the citric acid before the peroxide. And so all of those increased time, processing times, is really compensating for the fact that our temperatures are cool out here today. So we had better bleaching on this one, but we also have this brown stain that our sodium sulfite is supposed to get rid of, but the rinse aid sodium sulfite bath is just inadequate to totally remove that at that point. So just as a control experiment, we did another test using roughly the same exposure, but this time no sodium sulfite rinse aid at all. And the whole print is kind of marred by this cast, this sort of mottled brownish cast over it. And that kind of told us that you definitely need a rinse aid, but it has to be more effective. And so what we did here is we used a fresh batch of stronger sodium sulfite in warm water this time. And it just makes it, the chemical reaction occurs a lot better when it's warm. And then we also rinsed it thoroughly with fresh water before we did the second development. And so now we have a nice print. Highlights are good. If you look at the collar of Ethan's shirt, it's almost pure white, which is kind of what we wanted. And no staining, no brown stains or anything like that. So it's a pretty good picture. My focus could have been better, but anyways, it's the first really good results of today. And so the learning is really about having adequate rinse aid to remove staining and adequate bleaching and compensating for low temperatures by increasing your strength of your developer and your processing time and all that.
I tried to give a demonstration of this thing, and I realized like I really should have a clear-sided version so people can see, because once I put my arm in the box, like it doesn't matter what I'm talking you through. I could say I'm,
Yeah.
making a dragon in there or whatever. Who knows? It's my arm's in a box. So we're trying to rinse off any stain that's been like an annoying part of this process as time has gone on. But
So
this guy.
This is before the second developer. This is the other secret part of the process that we're not supposed to tell people.
Yeah, it's important to rinse here with circular motion.
Yes.
Not up and down.
Counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere.
Yes, but in the southern hemisphere also counterclockwise.
Oh, counterintuitively.
Uh-huh.
Second developer.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be way too dark when it actually hits real developer, but we'll see. Maybe not.
That's me holding the focusing target. Got some dark shadows, you got some bright highlights. Almost pure paper white on that focusing target without any stains.
Oh, what a wonderful day for science.
As the day is heated up, we're finding that our sodium sulfite bath is much more effective now, and we're using warm water in it, so it definitely does a really good job of clearing all the stains out. These are the last two pictures we've done. These are really excellent, I gotta say. And I think both Ethan and I agree that we like the results of these better than shooting Harman direct positive. The contrast is a lot better, a lot more controlled, just really good black and white. It's RC paper, it's easy to rinse, it dries quickly. And we've also employed the focusing target to be a little more consistent on our focusing. We were practicing this a while ago. We were developing one print while he was exposing the next. And in theory, you could do a whole series of these with your arm in the box and maybe get a handful of them in the developer at the same time or one after the other. So another purpose for this experiment today was really to gain practice in doing this process with the box camera out in what you might call real world conditions instead of in the controlled environment of a house or something where it's always the same temperature. Learning to compensate for temperature variations and learning how to make a stronger solution of chemistry and letting it go longer, letting it process longer to compensate for the low temperatures. These are just kind of learnings that we're gaining here, which is going to be pretty invaluable as we hope to do this in the future in the public setting.